The Canaanites are best known from the biblical accounts that portray them as a hostile, pre-Israelite indigenous population residing in the Promised Land, who were conquered by the tribes of Israel under the leadership of Joshua following their exodus from Egypt. Earlier references to the Canaanites and Canaan first appear in 2nd millennium BCE Near Eastern and Egyptian texts, a time span defined archaeologically as the Middle Bronze, Late Bronze, and Iron Ages, circa 2000 to 1000 BCE. These written sources provide place names and details relating to geographical borders of a region referred to as Canaan, which can best be described as a political territorial term that encompasses much of the Levant, or the modern countries of Syria, mainly southwestern Syria, Lebanon, Jordan, Israel, and the Palestinian territories, West Bank and Gaza Strip. All contemporary 2nd millennium BCE references to Canaanites and their land originate outside of the boundaries of Canaan, as defined by these texts. Thus there is no written evidence regarding how the Middle and Late Bronze Age populaces of the Levant referred to themselves or to their region, raising questions with respect to the applicability of the general term, Canaanite, to 2nd millennium BCE Levantine peoples that comprised numerous different groups. Though who is a Canaanite remains ambiguous, most recent scholarship understands Canaanites not as an ethnic designation but employs it to refer to the 2nd millennium BCE inhabitants of diverse identities residing in a region that contemporary Akkadian, Egyptian, and Ugaritic texts and later Phoenician, Punic and Hebrew accounts refer to as Canaan. These populations were organized into territorially based, politically independent city-states, each with its own associated hinterland. They shared a West Semitic language, often termed Canaanite in modern scholarship, and a similar material culture. A large body of literature regards the Israelites, contra the biblical account, as emerging out of Canaan. Later ancient writers and many scholars today consider the northern coastal Canaanites to be the precursors or ancestors of the 1st millennium Phoenicians. The Canaanites were a group of ancient people who lived in the land of Canaan on the eastern shores of the Mediterranean Sea. Canaan is described in the Bible as extending from Lebanon toward the Brook of Egypt in the south and the Jordan River Valley in the east. In the Bible, notably in Genesis 10 and Numbers 34, this was called the land of Canaan and occupies the same area that is occupied by modern Lebanon and Israel, plus parts of Jordan and Syria. The Canaanites are mentioned over 150 times in the Bible. They were a wicked, idolatrous people descended from Noah's grandson Canaan, who was a son of Ham, Genesis 9 verse 18. Canaan was cursed because of his and his father's sin against Noah, Genesis 9 verse 20. In some passages, Canaanite specifically refers to the people of the lowlands and plains of Canaan, Joshua 11 verse 3. In other passages, Canaanites is used more broadly to refer to all the inhabitants of the land, including the Hivites, Girgashites, Jebusites, Amorites, Hittites, and Perizzites. See Judges 1 verses 9 to 10. The land of Canaan was the land God promised to give to Abraham's descendants. The Canaanites are described in the Bible as a large and fierce people, not easily defeated, so the Israelites would need divine help to come against them, defeat them, and take their land away. God promised Moses and Joshua that help. After the Exodus, when the Lord told Moses to invade Canaan, Moses sent a group of spies into the land of Canaan to see what the people were like. The spies came back with a report that was both encouraging and daunting. The fruit of the land was huge. It took 2 men to carry back 1 cluster of grapes, and the land was bountiful in many other ways. However, the Canaanites were strong, and the cities were large and fortified. Also, the Israelite spies had seen what they described as Nephilim and the descendants of Anak there next to these fierce people. The Israelites saw themselves as grasshoppers, verse 33. In the end, the Israelites were so afraid of the Canaanites that they refused to go into the land God had promised to them. Only Joshua and Caleb were confident that God would help them defeat the Canaanites. Because of their unwillingness to trust God, that generation of Israelites was denied entry into Canaan. After Moses' death, Joshua was called by God to lead the people of Israel through the Jordan River and into the Promised Land. The first city they came to was Jericho, a strong walled city of the Canaanites. Joshua believed God and told the people that God would drive the Canaanites out of the land so that Israel could take the land of Canaan. Joshua 3 verse 10. The fall of Jericho was a supernatural event, as God overthrew that city. Joshua 6. This victory was a sign to the people of Israel and to the people of Canaan that God had given the land of Canaan to the Israelites. Despite a long campaign against the inhabitants of Canaan, there remained several pockets of Canaanites in Israel after the land had been divided among the 12 tribes. Judges 1 verses 27 to 36. Some of the Canaanites who remained in Israel were pressed into forced labor, but many strongholds remained in the land. The partial obedience of Israel, resulting in these Canaanite citadels, caused much trouble throughout the time of the Judges. Ancient DNA reveals fate of the mysterious Canaanites. Around 4,000 years ago, they built cities across the Levant, which includes present-day Lebanon, Israel, Jordan, and part of Syria. Yet the Canaanites left no surviving written records, leaving researchers to piece together their history from second-hand sources. One of those sources is the Bible's Old Testament, which suggests a grisly end for many Canaanites. After the Israelites' exodus from Egypt, God ordered them to destroy Canaan and its people, though other passages suggest that some Canaanites may have survived. But did that really happen? Archaeological data suggests that Canaanite cities were never destroyed or abandoned. Now, ancient DNA recovered from 5 Canaanite skeletons suggests that these people survived to contribute their genes to millions of people living today. The new samples come from Sidon, a coastal city in Lebanon. Mark Haber, a geneticist at the Wellcome Trust Sanger Institute in Hinxton, UK, extracted enough DNA from the ancient skeletons to sequence the whole genomes of 5 Canaanite individuals, all around 3,700 years old. Geneticist at Harvard Medical School in Boston saw the same mixture of Eastern and local ancestry in the genomes of ancient skeletons from Jordan. Mark Haber found that the present-day Lebanese population is largely descended from the ancient Canaanites, inheriting more than 90% of their genes from this ancient source. The other 7% may have come from migrants from Central Europe who moved to the Levant around 3,000 years ago. If you like my videos, don't forget to like and subscribe to my videos.